Alright guys, so I have a good video for you guys, and if you saw the thumbnail, then you know what this video is going to be about. It is going to be my braided horror story and how I had to have another big chop. So let's get into it. Grab your snacks, grab your tea, grab your popcorn, grab your Thanksgiving leftovers, and come sit down because I have some things to tell you. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to be referring to some notes down here because this is a story time about a braiding salon here in Columbus. I'm not going to be sharing the name of the salon because I don't know if it's a personal experience or if it's more of a generalized experience for multiple people. So let's do a bit of a rewind back to June. I was due for a trim and I was looking around Columbus to find stylists that would be able to trim my hair on short notice, probably within 2 weeks. Unfortunately, every salon was like, yeah, we're gonna do $275. That's your entrance rate fee. So basically, if you're a new client, then they're gonna do a consultation, look at your hair, trim it out, silk press it. That's $275. And for me, I was like, I am not paying $275 for a silk press that's not gonna last because my hair is not heat trained.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So basically what I decided to do was I bought the time over ring, and if you have not seen that video, go check it out. It's a good video and a good review on my thoughts and opinions on the product. But basically I ended up doing that and my hair was super healthy. Like, it was super healthy. It was healthy from root to tip, and I can insert pictures of how there were no gaps, nothing in my hair. My hairline was really growing in nicely. I had stopped slicking back my edges. I had stopped doing like a lot of slick puffs. So like my hairline was super full. My ends, there was not a lot of splits. Like, I barely had to trim any hair off. Fast forwarding into the summertime, I typically get braids every summer, and I usually go to a girl named Ray Styles, and I'll insert her Instagram because she's amazing and I have nothing bad to say about her. I typically go to her every year. And so what I love about her is she would ask you, what are your problem areas? Do you have anything that you're allergic to? Like, as far as braiding hairs, as far as hair products, she'll ask you, how many times have you already gotten a protective style this year? So if you've said, I've gotten a protective style 4 times, you know, she may advise other things. I don't know what her treatment plan would be for that, but she's very holistic with her hair care. And also something that I've noticed, like braids that I've gotten around the hairline, she will do bigger parts to make sure that there's not a lot of tension on the edges. So I wanted to go with her, but basically she was booked up, and me and Danzel, we were going to California for a cousin's wedding, and I typically always get braids for my summer vacations just because I love to swim. I'm outside. I don't got time to be worried about shrinkage and detangling, okay? One day I was at church and I saw this girl that I really love. Her name is Jordan, and her hair was braided so beautifully, so neat. It just looked so crisp and clean, and she had told me that her style was in for a month already, and typically she doesn't keep her hair in for that long. So I was like, okay, well, who did you go to? So she gave me the name of the salon, and what I really loved about this salon is that you could literally book out 3 months, 4 months in advance. You just have to put like a $50 security deposit, which I think is really nice. Because one thing that I don't like about modern day braiders is that their schedule opens up on the 20th at 8 a.m. and by 8:02 the whole schedule is booked up. So I loved that I was able to book my hair appointment back in June for an appointment that was going to be in August. I always get knotless goddess braids every year, and so what I really wanted to do was try out a different size. So I went with small, and the reason why I love this salon also is because their small is actually small. A lot of places, like when you book small knotless, like it's really like medium, it's not really actually small. So I was like, okay, like I'm excited for that. So last minute I ended up being a bridesmaid in this wedding for my cousin, and I was super excited to be a part of this wedding because it was just such a beautiful experience. Go watch that vlog if you haven't already. But basically her request for the bridesmaids was going to be that everyone will be getting silk presses and that it would go up in an updo. So because I had already put the heat in my hair back in June, I was a little bit apprehensive because the last time I straightened my hair was 2014. So clearly I don't really put a lot of heat in my hair. And so I really didn't want to get heat damage. And then also I was going to be on a week long, well, over a week long trip in Southern California. And in Temecula, where we were at, the wedding was actually like 105, 106 up to, like, it was so hot there. Like, my hair would not have lasted the whole week, especially not at the beach or different activities. So I was like, hey, you know, I already booked this hair salon appointment for knotless goddess braids. Would it be okay if I could still get my hair styled by the stylist that you picked and have her put my braids into an updo, because they're so small, like they're really able to be styled in a lot of different styles. And she was perfectly okay with that, and I was super happy because I didn't want to get heat damage, and I also, you know, I didn't want to be on this vacation worried about my hair reverting, because I did that for our June trip for our anniversary when I got my hair straightened. That whole trip I was like, oh crap, like we're walking outside, I don't want my hair to shrink up. Like, you know, we had a hot tub in our room, I don't want my hair to shrink up. And it was just like, I didn't really want to deal with that for a whole week. The night before this appointment, and the night before my appointment, I blew it out and I took the Tymo straightener and I basically, you know, on the very lowest setting, I just went over my roots, because my annoyance with braiding salons also is like, you get there and they want your hair like bone straight, so they'll run the blow dryer again through your hair. And I was like, I'm not having that. And I said that in my vlog. I was like, I made sure I got my hair nice and straight so that they wouldn't be an issue of me getting to the salon and they're re-blow drying my hair. So when I got to the salon, that very thing happened. I'll insert the footage of me taking my Bantu knots out. All right, guys, so I am here. Like, my hair was stretched. It definitely had like a bend in it from the Bantu knots, but it wasn't like crazy because I didn't have product in my hair and I only put my hair into the 4 Bantu knots. But she literally took the blow dryer and blew my hair out for a good 10 minutes. She didn't put heat protectant in it. She just kept blowing it out. I should have spoke up right then and there, and that should have been like a, I mean, I might as well go get the silk press if I'm gonna keep getting all this extra heat put into my hair, right? But I didn't say anything. I was really frustrated, but I was like, I'm gonna have this style in for over a month because they're small braids. So all in all, like, it shouldn't be too bad. Like, I don't really put heat in my hair like that. Another thing that stood out to me in this braiding experience was she literally was sectioning my hair off with rubber bands, like the little black rubber bands. Yeah, she was sectioning all my hair off in those, and my hair is thick. Like, I have thick hair. Like, my hair is super shrunk because this is day 1, but like my hair is very thick. She didn't like how she had sectioned a piece off, so she ripped the rubber band out. She didn't like gently take it out or like cut the rubber band out. No, she literally like snatched it down the whole shaft of the hair, and that, like, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of started to annoy me because it's just like the carelessness of how she was dealing with my hair, on top of like the way she was combing through it. Like, it hurt. And so I did speak up to her about, and I was like, hey, you know, you're being a little bit rough. Can you like gently like comb through my hair? And then she would do it for a little bit, and then she would do it again, and then I would be like, hey, or I don't know. So I kind of started to make a face to let her know, like, hey, this hurts. Like, can you stop combing my hair like this? Something funny that I'll insert in is that she was like, wow, like, you have some really good healthy hair. And in my head, I'm thinking like, well, it's not about to be healthy with how you're dealing with it right now. I was just so frustrated. So a red flag that I'm starting to gather with hairstylists, and this isn't to be funny or mean or any particular type of thing, but if I go to a salon and I don't see anyone with their actual hair out, and not only that, or if I do see people with their hair out, or it looks like they don't know how to take care of their hair, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to know how to take care of yours. So if that's something that you see, is definitely a red flag. I'm not saying that in every case, because I understand people get traction alopecia or different things and then they learn, but if don't nobody in the salon look like they know how to take care of black hair, then baby girl, you might need to find a new salon. So all in all, the style took about 8 to 9 hours, and I had 3 different people in my hair because, like I said, they were smaller. So the first thing that I noticed with my hair when they got done and I went to the bathroom is that I literally, I kid you not, I had to hold my hair. Like, I told them I wanted small knotless waist length, and so for reference, my waist, when I say waist length, I mean right here. Like, I mean like right here. and because I wanted them to be like lightweight and different things like that. So when I got up, child, why am I holding my braids so they don't dip into the toilet bowl? These braids were thigh length. They were thigh length. So that was one thing that I did speak up about as well, is I asked her, I was like, hey, you know, I did ask for waist length. Is there any way you can trim these? I know you guys can't trim them to waist length because they would actually cut into the braid and then that would cause them to unravel. But is there any way you could trim them? So they ended up trimming them to about butt length. And I still was like, okay, these are really long. It's probably the longest I've ever gotten, but I guess I'll just have to work with it. Eventually I did. When I went home, I cut them even more, but I feel like there's only so much cutting that I could do. So the style cost me $550. And when I started to notice that things were bad was when I got in the car. I went to go like put my hair to the side so I could drive, and it literally felt like I'm driving down the highway and I feel like my neck, is like leaning to one side, like I'm doing the shoulder lean. Also, for those of you who don't know, like my husband is 6'5" and I'm 5'7", 5'6", 5'7"-ish, around there. So there's a huge like height gap. So whenever I looked up like that, when I got home and I was looking up at him like, hey babe, do you like the style? Like my neck, bruh, like I felt like a lean back, like something was like pulling me back. Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back. That's how I felt. Like it felt like my head was like being pulled. Because it was so heavy, the only styles that I could really do is to the side. I would put it in a side braid, I would wear it down. And I know when we went to the airport for the trip to California, I tried to put my hair into like 2 braids and put them to the front, but even that was like causing tension because the hair was so heavy. Like where I had sectioned the hair down the middle, the braid like in the middle of my hair, I could feel like where it was like pulling my hair at the root. That's why a lot of times like when you get braids, like yes, your hair will shed because you're not combing the hair for such a long period of time. So when you take the braid out, you know, you'll pull out your regular shedding. But sometimes I feel like with braid, because they are so heavy a lot of the times and stylists are putting so much braiding hair on one section of hair, you're getting way more shedding than you typically would on a regular basis. Probably about 3 days later, 4 days later, I started to notice, like even with my hair in a side braid, like my edges were hurting so bad. So I just pulled my hair to the side, and it was so many braids, like I could not see my edges. Like I couldn't see them because there's just so much like braids in my hair. So I pulled my hair to the side and I was just looking at the perimeter. They literally put braiding hair on 3 scoops of hair. Now I've always had a full hairline, but you know, when you get to like the very front, like it's obviously finer hair. It's not as thick as the hair is right here. Like it's gonna, like, you know, like when you pluck a wig or when people style wigs, the hairline is not gonna be as full as it is in here. It would look fake. That's not how a hairline looks. But child, why did they literally put a whole braid on 3 scoops of baby hair? That was what was hurting. Is I literally got real close and what I could see is like those little white bulbs. They were like all on my hairline. So immediately I took out one braid because it was like, that one was like literally dangling, but the other ones I just cut the hair in the braid really short. So I just cut the braid really short and I tried to remove out some of the boho because I think I used like 2 bundles. They told me if you want like a certain look to do 2 bundles. Now I should have just got like half a bundle or maybe 1 bundle of the boho hair added in because 2 is way too much hair as well. So I cut out a lot of the added boho pieces in my hair to kind of get some of that extra weight off because I couldn't keep cutting into the length of the hair. So I tried to get rid of a lot of that around the hairline. Unfortunately, like that one braid, with just my hair being in that style for like 3 to 5 days, I don't know the exact day that I took it out, girl, it was like clumps of little pieces of shed hair with the white bulb on them. And it's only been 3 to 5 days. You shed 100 strands of hair a day throughout your whole head. Child, it looked like most of the shedding was just in this one strand. So I'm panicking. But I was like, I'm not gonna take my hair out of this style because I have to go on this trip, I have to be in a wedding, and I don't want to re-traumatize the hair with, you know, taking the hairstyle out, and then I would have to get the silk press on top of that. I might as well have just the silk press. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick it out. The whole trip, it was just very uncomfortable. Like even riding in the airplane, like it was just very uncomfortable. Like I couldn't lay. Like that is how, like this was the first braided style that I've ever had where I've had to take pain medication. It is not normal to have to take pain medication for a braided style. As your #1 notification that something is not right with your hair. You should not get pain. Hairstylist, she did a good job of pinning the hair up, and when she pinned it up, it definitely was lighter, like for the wedding and everything. So as soon as we got home from the California trip, I took the braids out. It hurt me because I paid $550 for this style, but I did not care because I was like, I would rather all of my hair, or as much as I can, than be bald headed and out of the $600. It took me 40 hours. Every day after work, I would take braids out for another 8 hours. So most nights I was getting into bed after midnight for the entire work week. And by the time I was done, it literally looked like I had a rug on the floor. Like Danzel was like, oh, like you have a sweater on the floor. Like, look at this. This was literally all sitting on my head. And that's not even all of it, because some of it I put in a trash bag. So imagine all of this sitting on your head. I just wanted it out, and I just missed my hair. I don't know, he said something like either you dropped your blanket or you have a sweater on the floor. That is how much weave they added to my hair. My hair is thick, but if you were to like straighten it, like get it really straight, you can tell I have normal density hair. I don't have, like there's people like an Ashley Massey, or like people who have like that extremely high density hair, like no matter if it's straight, in a fro, like you can just tell, like even if the light were to shine through it, like never gonna see through it. That's not my hair. I was like, they did not need to put this much hair in 3 scoops on each little strand of hair. So fast forward, I took the hairstyle out, and my hair, it still looked full, but I hadn't detangled it yet, right? So as I'm detangling it, I'm getting clumps and clumps and clumps of shed hair coming out. I've only had this style in for 10 days. My hair does not shed that much in 10 days. Ever. Like this is enough shed hair for 3 months. Like that is how much hair it felt like came out of my hair. So I was freaking out, so I decided to wash my hair and blow it out so I could see, you know, if there was any thinning throughout the hair. I forgot to mention that with this style, when they were done with it, they also took the scissors and they went up the shaft of each braid. So if there's any like hair sticking out, they trimmed up along the shaft of each braid to make sure that there was no stick out, like there was no hair sticking out. That's an absolute red flag, because if any of your hair is sticking out, they cut it. They cut your hair. So when I blew my hair out, it was like a weird line of demarcation in my fro. And I was like, I don't know if it's heat damage. I don't know if it's thinning, you know, from all the shed hair that came out, but there was a line of demarcation in my hair. So I kind of was like, like I'll just give myself a little baby trim, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm gonna have to get a professional trim. So fast forward to September, when I got my professional trim about a month later, because my hair was just not cooperating anymore after I took that style out. When she blew my hair out, like I was like, oh girl, like my hair is getting long. Like my hair was like down here, like it was getting long. Like it was definitely past bra strap length. But girl, when she blew it out, see-through. I was so disappointed, because when she blew it out, it was see-through, and I could tell like she was struggling to detangle it, comb through it. Like it was just a mess, because some of the braids, like I don't know what it was, like if they just put too much braid gel in, but some of them, like when I was taking them out, I had to cut off some of my hair. Like it was like knotting up in 10 days. She had to cut off 4 inches of my hair. And then the other thing that she noticed was that my hairline was just broken off. Like she was like, do you slick your hair back, or do you like use a lot of edge control, because your hair is really broken off around the perimeter. And that was something else that I noticed. Like when I washed my hair after I took the braids out, I literally looked like I had postpartum shedding. I haven't had kids yet, but what I will say is that it was bald. Like in the temples of my hair. Like if I put my finger right there, it like was cold to the toe. Like it was just no hair right there. Things that I wish that I knew before getting braids or going to a new stylist are, braids are not a protective style in most cases, unless you're going to like an extremely amazing stylist. Most times they don't care about the health of your hair. They blow out the hair way too excessively. They're trimming up the shaft of the hair. So what I will say is this: I personally will be taking at least a year break from getting braids, because I want to see if I stop getting the braids every year, will I stop having to get these drastic cuts every single year. Have them limit how much braid gel that they're putting in your hair, because with the amount of braid gel that they put in your hair, when you go and spray leave-in conditioner in your hair to like re-moisturize it, it's not touching your hair. It's sitting on top of that gel, and that gel is curdling up, it's matting, it's causing excessive shedding. And if you have scalp problems, most likely it's causing dandruff. Like I had dandruff in my hair after like 5 days. My scalp does not flake. So that's another thing. Whatever you do, don't let them cut up the shaft of your hair, because this style will last you a month to 2 months, but you will have your hair choppy and cut up the shaft for the rest of whenever, unless you choose to big chop your hair off. Stop letting these stylists cut up the shaft of your hair for a more polished look. If the dipping of the hair in the hot water doesn't solve it, then it does not matter. People aren't looking that closely. If you value density and length retention, do not let them put 5 pounds of hair on your head. So if you have normal density hair, or even if you have high density, or especially if you have fine density hair, I honestly would not recommend that you are a braid girly. But if you're normal to high density, tell them that you want lightweight braids. Tell them you want a boneless look. I know it's like, oh, we don't want the boneless look, but if you don't want your actual hair to be boneless, tell them to not put so much braiding hair in, because what that is doing is they are literally putting a weight on your hair, and it is pulling out, it's plucking individual strands out from the root. If you continually get braided styles month after month after month, and for some people it only takes one time, you are thinning out your hair. When you go and get your wax at the wax salon, right, and they wax the hair out, they tell you your hair will grow back thinner, sparser, finer each time. So what you're doing when you're getting these heavy braided styles and you see all those little white bulbs at your scalp and it's pulling it out, your hair is growing back thinner, finer, sparse every single time, and eventually you will get traction alopecia, and it's not coming back unless you do a hair transplant. Those are my key takeaways. Don't be like me. I'm tired of having a big chop every year for whatever the case may be. So this is another thing that I'm like, if I ever do get braids, I will probably only get large or medium knotless braids, and I won't be getting the like boho pieces, because them pieces could be getting nappy anyways. So right now my hair is probably like about here. Let me see. Yeah, so right now my hair is about here, and I really should be about mid-back length. Like with the amount of hair, because I've already had 2 trims from her to like really get my hair back to optimal health. I've probably cut off about 5 inches of hair. And if you do, like, my hair was at bra strap in June plus 5 inches, like my hair should be like past my like boobs. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. I hope that you guys found this educational and that you learned some new things about getting protective styles. And until next time, bye guys.